climate change is the crisis of our time. It's not just immigrants who are here in a climate crisis like a hurricane, that are afraid to seek shelter, but if you look at people around the world whose livelihoods depend on that piece of land that is being submerged by rising sea tides, if you think about the migration patterns around the world of why people are leaving, drought, famine, lack of water, people walk across deserts, can't get the food that they need, don't have the water that they need to drink. I mean, a lot of what's happening around the world and is driving migration is related to climate. And so I think that whether you're here and dealing with the effects of that and climate change here, or whether you're in some other country, the reality is that we are seeing a world around us that we rely on for our everyday nourishment, livelihood, and that we want to pass on to our children and our grandchildren disappear. We are seeing our resources be privatized. We are seeing all of the effects, which are really like the downstream effects of climate change is what we see, but the root causes are maybe even more hidden. I mean, it's what the Gwich'in people were talking about,
yeah.
right? But we see the effects here. We see the ways in which our salmon, our all of our species, all of our diversity of species that has been so important to the planet being able to survive, we see that all going away. And you can see, temperature changes, dramatic temperature changes. You can see ice melting. I went to Glacier National Park, I think it was 15 years ago. I looked at pictures. There's nothing that looks the same anymore. All of that ice has melted. But even in terms of our human health, our water, our air, the climate fluctuations is it's affecting everything. So why would we care? Well, I have a 21-year-old son, and he says to me, Mom, you better damn well do something about climate change because this is my future. I'm not going to have a planet to live on anymore. And I think that that's true across the world, and I think that some of the island people that live in parts of countries where you've been to or you've come from.
Where I come from.
They're going underwater.
The Virgin Islands.
That's right.
And obviously Puerto Rico, which is which is Americans.
That's right.
I know some folks don't want to remember that.
People don't want to remember that. Yeah.
In other parts of the Caribbean, but yeah.
And that's why during the Paris Accord, I thought it was so powerful. People say, well, what does a degree here or there mean, right? In terms of. But what it means is your island gets submerged or it doesn't.
Yes.
Your country gets submerged or it doesn't. And so it means a lot to everybody if people really start to understand how it affects. And it's not something that's distant. It's something that's right here. So. And
for those who are listening, that Paris Accord was part of the Paris Climate Agreement,
right.
Which we signed on to.
Right.
And then our current president said that we're no longer in.
Right.
And there were many brave governors and mayors who said, now we're still in.
Yeah.
And you're right, that degree for people like the Maldives means literally if they would become climate refugees or not. But let's stick with your members. I'm on the board of the League of Conservation Voters, LCV. And we do a little scorecard thing.
Yes.
And we gave you a pretty good score there.
Yes, you did, and it would have been 100%. Except I was in the hospital for one vote.
It's funny. So those who are listening, this is I put on my my board of directors LCV hat on now.
Yeah.
Other than that, which is still cool, y'all. Now they be like, oh, you're no longer cool anymore, Rev. It's still cool. But we do a scorecard, and it's. If people miss a vote sometimes, that gets kind of like, and so.
I know, I was so disappointed. I'm like, okay, you're on the board. I'm taking it to you. I was in the hospital. I was in the hospital. But no.
You hear that, Gene? Where's Gene Kapinski at?
Tell Gene Kapinski.
And Tina, where's Tina at?
That's right. Let's have some accountability here. No, I was I'm thrilled with that score. But, obviously it's like something that is so deeply important to me. And I am so committed to addressing climate change, to building the movement so we can take on the biggest polluters, the fossil fuel companies, the people that are doing everything they can to pour, billions of dollars into keeping profits above keeping our planet. And I'm so pleased that LCV is helping to lead that charge, and I guess I'll have to forgive you for my one vote.
No. Well, listen, we got folks who got zeros, so
Yeah.
we got that. So if people want to reach you and find you, what's the best way? They want to get involved with the task force. They want to learn more about that.
Yeah.
How can they find out more about you and the EJ task force?
Well, they can go to my website, and the name is Pramila Jayapal. And how terrible! I don't even know what our website is. But if they search by my name,
we can get help. We can get help. You got some help here? You want to give us some help here?
Jayapal.house.gov.
Jayapal.house.gov.
There you go. Jayapal.house.gov.
Yeah, and it's Jayapal.house.gov, and we'd love to hear from people and get people engaged and do whatever we can to help and make sure that, we're going to take the EJ task force on the road. I don't know if Nanette and Don told you that, but...
Well, we have a Think 100% roadshow coming, so we to get all three of you somehow in that regard. Congresswoman Jayapal, we thank you so much for your service. Thank you for what you're doing in the great state of Washington, and keep up the good work.
Thank you so much. Thanks for making it cool.